The Jaguars' best players have to be their best players. I know it sounds obvious. It's not, though, and I'll tell you why on this edition of Locked On Jaguars.
You are Locked On Jags, your daily Jacksonville Jaguars podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What up? I'm Tony Wiggins here with Locked On Jaguars, your Jacksonville Jaguars daily podcast, where it's your team every day, and we thank you for making us your first listen and reminding you that we are free on all platforms wherever you happen to get your podcast. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and follow along on the Locked On Jaguars YouTube page as well. I'm going to be Captain Obvious today and tell you that the Jaguars' best players need to play like they're their best players. And I know y'all are like, duh, it's kind of the way it's supposed to go. Yeah, you're right. And it hasn't gone that way, specifically at the same damn time. They haven't always done it collectively and put it together as a unit and been what they are supposed to be on a weekly basis. I will tell you what my motivation is for coming up with this topic in segment 2. In segment 3, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you how these specific guys match up this weekend with the game. And that's going to segue you into our crossover edition, which is on Thursday. And that'll allow you to have a little bit of a preview for what that's going to be. But first, I got to identify who the best players are. Who are the guys? And by best players, I mean the most talented guys. And I also mean the people, because we're in trade and sign mode, the folks that you can count on from this point moving forward with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I'll name the top 6 and then sprinkle in 4 more. We'll give you 10 players that we believe are the best players on this team, the guys that I hope the Jaguars make a decision to move forward with, or 1 or 2 of them that they dangle and possibly get some compensation. That's only because of a team building thing. So let's get right to it. I'm going to name the 6 best players on this team, and I'm going to give you 4 more names that, might be. I'm not going to go in order. We're just going to start on sides of the ball. I will go defense first. Tyson Campbell, in my opinion, has been the best player on this team, and he plays a critical position. And in my opinion, moving forward, he's a guy that's, while he hasn't made a whole ton of plays, he doesn't allow a whole bunch of plays to be made on him. And so for that, I'll give Tyson Campbell, I say number 1. Number 2, in my opinion, is Travon Walker. I think he, with all of the different things that he does, and I think he's going to get better and improve. He's definitely someone that needs to step up every single week and lead this team, but he's one of the best players on the team as well. Number 3 is Josh Allen, and I say that with a bit of a caveat. I have said that because of where they'll possibly be drafting and who's going to possibly be there, that it'll be positional redundancy. And it's okay to have depth, but you can't have positional redundancy used with high priority resources and those guys not be able to fit on the field at the same time. That's why I'm thinking that Josh Allen is a candidate to be dangled out there in free agency where they can spread that money or spread those resources around at various positions. I just think they're going to be in position to draft another pass rusher next year. And you can't just have those guys stacking up all that money and playing the same position. So he's the 3rd guy. I'm going to do the 3 guys on offense. And I'm going to tell you, like I said, this is going to lead you in segment 2 for me to tell you exactly why they have to all play well together and at the same time. On offense, Trevor Lawrence. The most important piece of your future, immediate and long-term, is Trevor Lawrence at quarterback, and we know that. He's actually looked better as of late. I'm going to give him a little bit of a mulligan because there's something I'm going to point out in segment 2 that's going to really, really tell you why I kind of feel bad for him a little bit. Travis Etienne, the team is just by trading James Robinson, they told you, who the best players are. And this kind of goes with the theme that I think the Jaguars, instead of dilly-dallying around and spreading the wealth, no, they are, in my opinion, they are going to point, and they're going to point it. We need you, and you, and you to be our best guys, and we ain't got time to be splitting time and having a guy on the bench that we think can help us score a touchdown. So, Travis Etienne is offensively one of their best players. Christin Kirk. Now, is this an indictment, or does this say something when Christin Kirk is one of your 6 best players? A little bit. Definitely a little bit, because as much as I like Christin Kirk, I would be hard-pressed to find any other team where he would be considered one of their 6 best players. The other 4 spots, and the reason why I did not illuminate these as much is because it's hard to gauge an individual play or individual effort or an individual game by these guys. I'm going to go with Brandon Sheriff. And watch this. Jawan Taylor on that right side. It's hard to kind of when that line has to work together as a whole unit. So it's really hard to say, okay, this guy needs to play and it be tangible. A lot of times when these offensive linemen don't play well, or when they play well, it's because you haven't heard from them or seen them all day. Most of the people I name, I need them to do something that you see, right? And not just be a part of a unit and just hold down the fort. But Brandon Sheriff and Jawan Taylor, I believe, are the 2 guys that make up best player on the team, this little list we're doing offensively. And on defensively, I think it's Devon Hamilton. I don't know if he's played as well as I thought he would, but I do believe he's a piece moving forward, that at some point the Jaguars are going to have to figure out if they're going to pay him or not. But yeah, Devon Hamilton is definitely one of those guys. And the last one is Devin Lloyd. Devin Lloyd is a rookie, but he's had big moments. Like he a penalty negated another interception that he would have had. That would have been 3 on the year. I need to see him do a little bit more. He missed most of training camp, but still, he has the ability to change the game with his speed and his ability to tackle and shed blocks. So those are the 6 guys that have to show up, and the other 4 guys that sort of have to be there on the periphery. But the 6 guys I mentioned are the catalysts for this team. I'm going to tell you why it's important and it's imperative, and I'm going to give you some examples of why they need to play better and do it at the same time. Doesn't do you no good if you're a lone wolf out there playing well and the team isn't playing well. I'll talk about that in just a second here on Locked On Jaguars, after I tell you guys about LinkedIn Talent Solutions, especially if you are a small business owner like I am and have been in the past. It is imperative that the word get out to the right people that you're hiring and looking to add members to your team. In these days, it's very, very hard to do that, to line yourself up with potential employees or team members. That is so very important for the success of your company. But you can do it at LinkedIn. All you have to do is add your job and the purple hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. Now, my daughter, this is a story I love telling because she's one of my favorite people, but she got out of the military, was stationed right in South Carolina, in northern South Carolina. And I said, why don't you check Charlotte out? And she said, yeah, I'm going to post I'm going to go on LinkedIn and put my profile up. And boom, just like that, she was matched up with a wonderful company, and it's been a year, and they love each other to death. So that's what LinkedIn can do. It helped my family, and it can also help your business. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to and helps you do it faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. Got to holler at y'all about bird dogs, man. You want to know what a bird dog is, right? Bird dog is some great, great clothing. I'm telling you, man, they sent me a pair of pants, some joggers, and some shorts. The material is outstanding. The fit is absolutely, man, it's something else. And it feels good when it's on. I felt like, I ain't gonna lie, I felt like a rich pro golfer the day that I wore my bird dogs. Now, look, they just launched sweatpants. They're super comfortable, like that cute little Charmin bear rubbing up against your thighs. You know that comfy little bear feeling, and you know how that feels. The pants are perfect for all. For fall golf, you might like to be like Tiger Woods on a bender, but you'll feel just as good as Tiger Woods does when he goes out on the course. I'm telling you, man, Bird Dogs is the truth. Go to birddogs.com, enter the promo code locked on, and they'll throw in a free Bird Dogs rope hat. That's right. That's birddogs.com, promo code locked on, and boom, a free Bird Dogs rope hat with your pair of Bird Dogs. The most comfortable shorts, pants, and sweatpants with built-in liners. You will never want to take these things off. I promise you. All right, man. Welcome to segment 2 here on Locked On Jaguars. I am your host, Tony Wiggins. We do this thing every day, man, and we thank you for making us your first listen. Why do I think it's imperative that the best players on the team all play the best every single week and give themselves a chance to win? What made me think of it? Well, I watched a lot of games. I watched a lot of replays and watched a lot of games. And it doesn't mean that guys who are the best always play well, right? But on their worst day, they're going to make some plays and then maybe make a few mistakes here and there, but it's not going to be consistently what they do every week. When I watched Kansas City play. Chris Jones on defense, Patrick Mahomes on offense, it just never stops. They're always the dudes that every time another team tries to do anything, they do something to say, it ain't happening. Travis Kelce, that's right. You go on a run, we're going to end all of that foolishness. It's easy in basketball to talk about this stuff because one guy has a huge, huge effect. But just think about the Golden State Warriors, for instance. When they had Kevin Durant, it was like, what are you going to do? You knew every day or every night Steph Curry and Kevin Durant were going to show up and do what they do. And that's what made it hard. That even if you were winning, oh, don't worry about it. I got it. Just a second. That's what I'm looking for these top players from Jacksonville, man. I'm looking for the top players on this team that whenever they did it the other day in their last game for just a second. The team they were playing went down early and got some points, right? And it was like quick and fast. They went down and they scored, and I was like, uh-oh, we got a long day because the Giants took the opening kickoff and went right down the field like 70-some-odd yards. The Jaguars got the ball back for the first time and marched right back down the field, and Travis Etienne scored his first touchdown of the season. And then they went for 2 because the Giants had a penalty on the extra point, and they ended up getting close enough to go for 2, and they ran that in. And the first thing I thought was, that was a nice answer. Because, see, that's exactly what they have to start doing. And they were led by Trevor Lawrence, and they were led by Travis Etienne. You have to, when you're the best players, be able to answer the call and answer the bell. So Travis Etienne is his best game the other day. Trevor Lawrence had an okay game. But then a couple of weeks ago against the Colts, they both played well. Trevor Lawrence completed 90% of his passes. Travis Etienne had a big day on the ground. He busted off a couple of long runs. But guess what happened? The defense didn't play well. And when the defense didn't play well on that day, it wasted a really, really good effort from the offense. And there were times the defense plays well and the offense can't do anything at all. They have to at some point, and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, they have to at some point, when they fix the pipe in the bathroom, they have to make sure that the water can work in the kitchen. You got to get this thing together. You got to get it together. The only way they're going to get both offensive, defensive, and special teams to play well, all 3 phases in the same game, because that's the only way they're going to win, because it seems like they always lose, even though it's barely, they always lose when one side of the ball decides they're not going to show up, or one group decides that they're going to take a quarter off, and then in that quarter, the Jaguars get dog walked. So what they have to do, man, is you gotta depend on your leaders. You got to depend on your leaders and your better players. I know it's a 53-man roster, and I know you need next guy step up, but no, they have to figure out if these guys, the top 6 plus the other 4, the helpers, if they are good enough on a week in and week out basis to lead this football team, because there is no room for them to have a couple of bad games. There is no room for them to decide on one Sunday that they're going to fumble the ball 4 times. You just can't do it. You cannot do it. Your best players have to be your best players every single week in the National Football League, and they have to be able to give you a chance. Doesn't mean they got to play perfectly. That's not what that's not. No football team is perfect. Doesn't mean they have to play perfectly, but what they do have to do is find a way, just like every other team around the league that has really, really good players, and we know who they are. We know who they are. I'll give you another example. The team that the Jaguars beat, the Chargers, they got smoked the other day by Seattle. Another team. It seems like their best players don't always step up and prevent things like that from happening. They didn't do it against Jacksonville. Austin Eckler was nowhere to be found against the Jaguars. Justin Herbert was just okay. Mike Williams was just okay. The Jaguars, if they ever want to get to the point where they're not just an almost team, the only way they're going to ever do that, in my opinion, is their top players. Before you can ask any of these supplementary guys, their top players have to be able to all be good at the same time. I'm telling you, if you get a chance, watch the real good teams around the league, even Dallas. Watch what happens. You'll get Ezekiel Elliott, you'll get CeeDee Lamb on one side of the ball, and you'll get Diggs and Michael Parsons on the other side of the ball, and the rest of those defensive linemen, and they'll all have good games on the same day. Watch the Eagles, one of the top 2 teams in the league along with the Bills. Look who plays well all at the same time. Not do okay this week, do bad next week. We need Travon, Josh, Campbell. We need the horses, the guys, the thoroughbreds on this team to come out every single week and be who they're supposed to be. Because you can't lift up other people until you do it yourself. Now, the question remains is this: are they good enough moving forward? Is this core group of guys good enough moving forward to actually be the leaders? Because I don't like talking the draft, but I kind of thought that we were above. If the Jaguars finish right now, if the season ended right now, I think somebody said they'd be picking 9th or 10th. If they lose this Sunday, that's going to raise them up. They're going to start going up and up and up. And then teams like Carolina and Washington start winning and go on little mini winning streaks. At some point, and the Jags still have to play Houston again in Houston. At some point, the Jags, if they don't turn this thing around, they're going to be picking high again. And they're going to be taking another player, another rookie in the top 5 who is going to be expected to be one of the top players on this team. It is imperative that the question be answered. And that's why I don't mind Doug Peterson. Okay, I'm going to tell you this. This is what I'm going to do in the third segment. I'm going to talk about Doug Peterson and his play calling. And I'm going to tell you why this correlates to everything that I just said. And I'm going to tell you why I don't have one iota of anger at him for dialing it back and trying to do things differently. I don't want him to do anything differently. And I think I mentioned this on the show not too long ago. But I'm going to tell you about that in just a second after I tell you guys about PrizePicks. That's right. PrizePicks.com is where you need to go to play daily fantasy sports, man. It is so fun. It is another reason I have such a good time watching these games because it gives me something else to keep my eye on. What happens is PrizePicks has these entries, and those entries are with player projections, meaning X player or this guy is going to get this amount of yards, and they'll give you a projection, right? And you have to decide whether or not that player will go more or less than that projection. For instance, if they say Russell Wilson, the number we're going to give Russell Wilson is 215 yards passing. It's up to you to decide whether you think he's going to go more or less than 215 yards passing. Now, if you got to pick at least 2 inches, but you can pick up to 5. And if you do that and you get them all right, you can win up to 10 times whatever amount you decided to wager. So go to PrizePicks.com or download the PrizePicks app and sign up and play daily fantasy sports today. Now, when you sign up for the first time, you can get a 100% instant deposit match of up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. I'll say it again. They will give you a deposit match, whatever amount you deposit on your initial sign up. Use the promo code Locked On, and PrizePicks will match that. Get the plan, man. You can start on Thursday and hopefully win you some Skrilla. That's right. Win you some Skrilla, some scratch, and all of that at PrizePicks.com. All right, rolling along here. Are the Jags good enough? Are they best players good enough? That's a good question. They're good enough to win some of the games that they've been losing. Folks tell me they could have won had Doug did this or had Doug done that. You know what I want Doug Peterson to do? I want Doug Peterson to coach as if he has a real good team. I want Doug Peterson to do exactly what a guy like Doug Marrone would not have done. Don't dial anything down. Don't take knees. Don't do anything. Don't just do whatever you got to do to try to not put too much on it. No, I want pressure bust pipes. I want to see Trevor make these throws. I want you to call all of these deep routes. I want you to do all of that stuff. The only thing I don't like that they do, I don't like when anybody does this. This is my pet peeve. On 3rd and 4, get 5 yards. Don't throw the ball 50 yards down the field. That drives me crazy. But still, I love aggressive play calling. Because aggressive play calling with superior athletes is usually what makes you win games. So look, we've been building this team now for a couple of years under Trent Baalke. I want those plays called because I want to see who can do it and who can't. Because that means, okay, if you're the number 2 receiver and you ain't playing number 2-ish, that means when we get good, you're going to be our number 4 receiver. That means I got to go get somebody else. If they're rolling coverage over towards Christian Kirk and Zay Jones can't get it done, Zay Jones, you got to be my number 4 receiver next year because I got to go get a 1 and I got to get a 3 so Christian Kirk can be my number 2. Josh Allen, are you elite or are you not elite on defense? Because if they're going to be chipping on Travon on the other side, which we've heard that's what they've been doing, or they're going to throw the ball quickly or throw the ball fast, can you make a play? What can you do? You can't concede. You can't just let the quarterback sit back there all day. We keep saying he's elite, he's elite, he's elite, he's elite. But is he elite like that? Is he like that? That's what I mean. You know what I mean? When like that. Because we're playing against people that got guys like Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa, Michael Parsons, Chris Smith, who I just mentioned, or Chris Jones, who I mentioned. No, I need some of that. And if he ain't that, I'm not going to pay him like he's that. Nice guy, good family dude, all of that stuff. This is a business, man. We're trying to win games. They have to look in the mirror. I think one of my titles is you got to look in the mirror. The best got to be the best, and not just be as in show up. You got to actually be as in verb, like action. You got to do it. We can't just keep calling you the best because you're the best. And if you're one of the best, and if that's not good enough, then we need to get some more best. We need to get some more people. So when I said I was going to be Captain Obvious, I am. Yeah, the best players have to play the best. The guys that you pay and the guys that are the best player in your team, they got to play the best. And we need to determine if that is good enough. If that ain't good enough, they got to be replaced and we got to get upgraded. Ain't trying to be nice. This ain't about being nice anymore. This is about, look, nice is cool, but you know what ain't cool? Watching people walk out of the stadium upset, hearing people on Twitter and everywhere else and on social media and all the podcasts, seeing people all upset. If you're the best, if you're considered one of the best on the team, you got to be one of the best on the team every week, just so the Jaguars know what they got. All right, man. Just so you know who we are and what we have every single day. Locked On Sports Today is the absolute truth. You can make that your second listen today. Check out Locked On Sports Today, from the games that matter the most to the biggest stories in sports. Go beyond the scoreboard and behind the scenes with local experts and insights only Locked On can provide. Locked On Sports Today, available on this app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast. Cross over tomorrow with your boys, our boys from Denver. I almost said your boys. Our boys from Denver, as we preview the Broncos and the Jags. That'll happen Sunday in London. Till then, you guys take care of each other, and we'll see you next time.